Hello, hello. This is the Awful and Awesome Entertainment Wrap, episode 204. This is Rajyasree.
And this is Abhinandan Sekhri. And today on the Awful and Awesome Entertainment Wrap, we have two movies, two films. One of them is 4 hours long. One documentary film. An ad campaign, which consists of 2 ads so far, and I'm guessing more are coming in different languages. A new music video, my song recommendation. And we shall talk briefly about the Filmfare Awards. Okay. I would like your views on them, Rajyasree Sen.
I have very few views on them because I did not follow properly, actually.
Your view is always few.
We also have a humor podcast, which we have no subscribers to, understandably.
But before we start, we've received a whole bunch of mails saying that in the last Awful and Awesome video version, because you do a short YouTube version of the full podcast, the full podcast is not on video because we want you to come and consume the podcast on our podcast player. And another reason why it should remain an audio podcast is there are some pre-roll ads and some ads that pop in during the podcast on video. And you guys have said, since we are an ad-free platform, how is that happening? Well, we haven't activated that because we are reviewing pop culture. So there's some music that we play, some other snippet from a film. The algorithm of YouTube picks up wherever that's from, and whoever owns copyright can activate the ads because we have used that on our podcast. So we are not activating those ads, and neither are we getting the revenue. So in this video version, we will silence all the audio of the songs or the ads we play. For that, you have to check out the audio version.
Yeah.
Otherwise, then pre-roll ads pop up, and we don't want our experience to be a experience with ads. It kind of clutters and it compromises a product, which is an ad-free product. So that is why. So Rajyasree, why don't you start?
What would you like me to start with? Something which both you and I have watched.
Okay, then that would probably be everything. You're making it sound as if...
Have you? Let's start with this thing, Operation Varsity Blues, which you watched.
Why should I start with that? So let's start with something that both you and I have watched, but I wish only you had watched it.
Which is?
Is this song, which I shall play, but the audience will not hear it because we will only see the video. But to hear it, you have to check out the podcast, the audio podcast.
And I will give credit to the person who sent this song to me, because why should people not know who this person is? And then you all can track him down and speak to him. His name is Surya Narayan Dev.
So on Twitter, someone recommended this.
On Twitter, someone.
And you took the recommendation.
Immediately,
Surya?
I take this.
So I'm
very open to suggestion.
A song called Two-Seater Car by Kanika Kapoor, which is featuring Happy Singh. Now, one second, okay, first let's just...
I watched the full thing.
First,
I just
let's
wanted to
check
know.
out the song.
Does that move? What is he saying?
Travel my two-seater.
Oh, travel. I'm hearing clever me juicy. Yeah. The enunciation's not good. They're very cool.
Why don't know why she
She's
sings
baby
like
doll
that.
singer. I don't say.
Even that she sings like this.
Yeah.
So Rajyasree said, Punjabi music is a srot. You know what a srot is?
Flowing river.
No, a srot is a reservoir. It is
Nah,
a source.
cholche.
It is a source.
Srote cholche is wave.
I'm not asking Bengali. Okay, it's the source of so much lovely music. Like
this.
Most Punjabi music is above average. Okay? A lot of it is average. A thick sliver is really good. And out of the thin sliver of shit Punjabi music, you have identified one shit Punjabi song.
This is not my fault. This is Surya Narayan Dev's fault.
So you have no filter?
No. We've know this for so many years. We've been saying I have no filter.
So it's a shit song, and I have a better Punjabi song which I'll recommend at the end of this, and it's So old, and it's such a lovely song.
But there's a reason why. See, now I'll give the topical reason why the song is there. Because today in Delhi Times, I don't know whether it was there.
She got
but
death threats when she was tested COVID positive,
Yeah.
and there's this very sad story about her.
sad story, and she said, I did not know about these rules and all, because she clearly does not have friends, well-informed friends. She did not speak to anyone on the flight she came back on. She did not see the news from where she came back or the news here. So she came here.
Went
She
for a
did not know.
party.
Then she threw a party. I don't think she went for it.
She
threw.
claims she didn't throw the party.
She too claims many things. She has claimed many things. So she has not thrown this party. She just went for a party.
Which
That
had
was
very
small.
fancy people.
Yeah, that she's not. She's saying like 4-5 people were there or something. And then she got death threats for this. This is not fair.
So the context is, many of you who may not have followed Kanika Kapoor's health bulletin, Rajyasree
She
clearly
was
did.
the first outbreak monkey we had, according to me.
She was one of the first few a year ago who came in from London, was COVID positive, and she had attended a party, and then everybody in the party had to be quarantined.
And there
or
were
whatever.
very well-known people at the party, because every day there was a lot of it didn't make the news, but even the ones which made the news were quite big names who were. So she's very popular. In Lucknow, she threw this party, I remember. It wasn't here. It was in Lucknow.
It was, but she claims she didn't throw the party.
Yeah, she didn't throw the party. And she also claims that she didn't know there was anything to do with COVID. And after that, she had stated that now that we've been through that, now that we, as in the world, has been through this, we know there's nothing to be concerned about the second COVID wave, because it's not that serious. So that this view of hers has been put into a box, it's highlighted and put into a box as something worthy of quoting, is also impressive. And when I put that up on Twitter, someone said she's also released a song. Then it
So
all
that-
made sense.
Then you said we should review the song.
Yeah.
Okay, very smart,
Okay.
Rajyasree said. Thank you. Next time, don't. You
Don't
can fight
listen
such
to-
instincts. You can ignore.
You keep telling me I'm unfriendly to people on social media. No, I've been told I've become very toxic on social media.
Social media.
On social media, I've become very toxic.
But you clearly, your real life persona has
So
found its
I
way.
wanted to say, but this is what I'm like.
That is what you
only.
like.
Like, I
This
thought
is-
people thought, "Hey, this is bubbly. This is not bubbly."
It's normal हैगा.
That's what. So after the song, we are going to discuss Pagglait.
Okay, fine. Let's discuss Pagglait, which is a film that was released, I think, earlier this week.
Yeah.
Or maybe last week.
This week.
It is directed by Mr. Bisht, Umesh Bisht. I think this may be, and it's written by Umesh Bisht also.
And produced by Balaji, Shobha Kapoor,
Yeah.
Ekta Kapoor.
So I'll get into the details later, but I loved it. It's an outstanding film. What did you think, Rajyasree?
So I didn't think it was outstanding, because I felt towards the end it becomes a little preachy and a little too pat. Like, the solution to how she gets on with her life becomes a little too easy. But the characters, and so it's about this young girl, she's young enough, a very young woman, who gets widowed within a few months of her marriage.
5 months.
5 months of her marriage. She did not have some great romantic relationship with her or sexual relationship with her husband, which comes out through the film. And it's a middle class home in
I think it's supposed to be in Lucknow. It's in UP, it's
but
small
it's
town
not
UP, but it's
clear.
clearly close to Banaras.
Yeah.
It is the 13 days from the day a man called Astik Giri dies, and his widow's evolution and growing up in the 13 days from his death to the Tervi, and how she finds her own self, her space, and her consciousness. ऐसे
narration करते हैं।
मतलब अगर पूरी स्टोरी का आपने निचोड़ निकालना है तो ऐसे निकालते हैं.
If Umesh Bisht had given this narration to Shobha Kapoor and all, they would not have made this film.
Okay.
I'm just saying, they would have said, ये तो बहुत ही
So are you pitching us?
Intellectual.
Are our viewers producers?
But what I loved about this film is the casting is spot on, absolutely. So it's all set in this one house where the morning is happening over there, and the family
where's
is
the
over
evening
there.
happening?
Is happening.
In another house. So they have a morning house. They have an evening house. And when is a good afternoon?
There's summer and winter. So funny. And in this house, so like it happens when people die. A lot of family members descend on you, friends descend on you, and friends you don't mind descending on you. The family members sometimes you do, and much like that over here. So, and it's a large family. There's her father-in-law, mother-in-law. There's a younger brother who's doing the funeral or the last rites. Then there are uncles, their wives. Then there's an estranged uncle who comes back.
And there's a neighbor.
Then her friend who's Muslim comes to stay with them, and how those small things, like they say, don't have tea from that cup. वो आपके लिए नहीं है, वो वाला. And the friend says it also very subtly, क्यों ये special है, like that. And the maid doesn't say anything, but it's clear that they've put aside a cup for her because she is Muslim. And all the little, so this, it's played by Sanya Malhotra, who was in...
She was in Dangal.
Dangal.
She played the younger wrestler.
Yeah.
And then she's in that other film also. I've seen her in 2 or 3 films. In the one with Ayushmann, yeah, where she does such a good job.
She's with Ayushmann.
Badhai Ho. She's in Badhai Ho.
Yeah, she's in Badhai Ho also.
She's a very good actor, I think.
So Sanya plays the wife, the widow, and her husband is never shown. Even a picture is not shown of him. And her father-in-law is played. So the casting is fabulous. They've got and they're very small. Some of the roles are extremely small, but they've just acted so well, and the dialogues are like spot on. So there's Ashutosh Rana after ages who acts so well.
Yeah, he's such a good actor. And I just think that Ashutosh Rana, so when you see films like this, you realize how old you are. Because the people who are like your age,
are now
who had just debuted when you had debuted into the city, from the small town, they were now they are playing like aging fathers to the new crop. Then you realize ki boss, main bhi buddha ho gaya.
But Shefali Chaya, who's our age, also played mother to Priyanka Chopra.
That I think she's been playing mother for a long time.
Poor thing.
But I think Ashutosh Rana acts really well, and he's demonstrated how he can. There's a certain, vulnerability, the weakness, yet he wants to stand up for himself but can't. I mean,
and he has very few dialogues. He actually has much fewer dialogues than the others. Rajesh Telang is always excellent. He's the brother, sort of not a strange brother, but he's sort of the brother who they aren't very fond of.
And then her mother-in-law, that's played by Sheba Chadda, who is always crying in every film.
Yeah.
So I think Nirupa Roy, you can't Nirupa Roy, you can't visualize her unless she's crying. Because in every film, Nirupa Roy was crying. So, like that is Sheba Chadda, but she plays that role of the crying, sad woman very well.
Even the brother-in-law is played by Asif Khan. He's very good. The brother-in-law who's sort of in love with her. Then so a lot of things are addressed also. This thing of that if you have a young widow in the house, someone in the family can marry her without taking... there's a layer to the layered hair.
Her consent is kind of understood to be taken for granted.
Yeah.
So basically it's a story of small town, middle class family, the trials and tribulations, the politics within the family, the economics, the economic, what's the word? Majboori ko English mein kya kehte hain?
You're making me forget mine.
I'm afraid you forget your English also. So, Majboori, whatever is the English word for that. The helplessness or the
economic pressures on
the pressures. So, those kind of things are so beautifully shown in this film. So, I'll just consult my notes. Like, as you know, good critics make notes. Bad ones just try to wing it.
Know what to do.
So, it's an outstanding cast. Outstanding. Amazing performances, bar none. I've written bar none.
Bar none you've written. Oh, now you've written it also.
English bit.
In case someone steals your written notes, which I'm capable of doing.
So then I've saved.
You're very smart boy, I have to say.
Then Ashutosh Rana is such a good actor. He didn't do enough roles in his lifetime.
This is your note. This is your note.
Now, little details a true critic will catch. The pretenders won't. So there are... I think it's Umesh Bisht. It sounds like a man. Umesh is a man's name.
Huh.
But I'm sure he had a lot of woman intervention because the detailing of... I think there's so many feminist statements made in this film, which are more than many so-called feminist films.
Yeah.
Like, tell me a few that you may have observed, which I'm sure you haven't, but I did.
Oh, like that. So I don't know about feminists, but I think the whole thing about this the woman doesn't cry when her husband dies. Because she's, one, she wasn't that emotionally attached to him, but also sometimes you're so much in shock that something like this has happened that you can't, what do you say? Show your emotions.
Yeah, you can't express it. So, and also how she gets to know her husband after he dies.
Used to be in love with.
Through his former girlfriend, who he clearly connected with, and she didn't connect with him. So, it's a very interesting plot, and it's not like the rest. You know, there's a whole trend of setting films like Bareli Ki Barfi or Badai Ho. You know, all these in small town, middle class kind of. It's not run of the mill. It's not part of that formula. It has a very unique story that is unlike any story of this woman discovering her husband after he's died through her girlfriend, and you know that whole thing. But did you know in the end when she goes and she gets onto a bus, she gets onto a patpatia. The patpatia driver was a woman.
Yeah.
No, you didn't notice
yes.
it? Now you're saying
I did. Please.
Okay.
They all noticed. Oof, Manaki.
The music and the songs are a big letdown because this film doesn't just have songs out of the blue. They've used the song device through montages, that how two people are getting to know each other, how it's moving the story forward. So when songs are used in a way like that, it's always nice if they are nice, and in this case they're forgettable. I mean, I can't even hum it. I don't even remember.
I don't remember.
Which is sad.
One character which I thought was the way they've done the different characters in the film is interesting because each of the brothers is very different to each other. And the progressive brother who calls the insurance guy, who can't understand why everyone is shocked that he called up the insurance guy to get Sania Malhotra's character, her insurance from the life insurance company. And also why everyone's so even that small thing, that even if this boy, her husband who died, even if he wasn't in love with her and he'd married her, because it's like at some point in life, you get married to the person your parents choose. It's not taken as some great step of either suppressing yourself or anything. In a certain milieu, that is what happens. That despite that, the only nominee he has for his life insurance is his wife. He doesn't have his mother or father or anyone. That he left that money in her name. I think those small, like slightly progressive, because when the girlfriend says you don't know what he was like, it is a very progressive thing to do.
Exactly. And he was. So I think it's such a unique story and so well told and such great performance. And that guy's name is Jameel Khan. He was in Gangs of Wasipur. So they have assembled, like, I think one of the finest casts to come together for a film. And like Raji said, there are few, people who have very few lines, but yet are pull off an amazing performance. And this guy who plays Parchoon, Parchoon is the neighbor who gets into this thing. So, and I think it's, he's called and he has a shop. It's Parchoon ki dukaan. Do you get it?
Listen, it's his shop. Parchoon means what? Don't give the camera a look like you're so smart. What does Parchoon mean?
Parchoon is not his name. You people say grocer, we say Parchoon ki dukaan. You say green grocer, we say sabzi wala.
We say green grocer.
You say go to the green grocer in it and get
Do you understand when I tell you let's go to the green grocer? You think it's a grocer who's green.
And go to go to the patisserie. Kya kehte hain?
Patisserie.
And get a muffin next to the green grocer. हम बोलते हैं सब्जी वाले के बगल में बेकरी है, वहाँ से एक ब्रेड ले आना. Cream roll लेके आना. So Parchoon is grocer. Parchoon की दुकान.
Oh, it's not his name.
No, they call him Parchoon.
So literal one thing I didn't understand one day.
I can name 10 that you did. But please. It was a Hindi film. So Parchoon. So there's a guy called Parchoon. He has a very small role, but he does such a good job of it. So must watch. If you have like 2 hours or whatever spare, or even if you don't take out time, watch this film. It is a very good film. And the one thing that I felt really bad, Rajyasree, was that when I see a film like Pagglait,
and
Pagglait. I miss the pre-COVID days because I can imagine I would have loved this film in the cinema.
Because
it sucks you in.
Turned and said, what did he say?
No, I would have either hit you.
That's what. That also you would have enjoyed.
Or I would have bought tickets at two ends. So you sit over there.
I would have bought the tickets, so it doesn't matter.
Now she's showing that she buys the tickets. So
I buy the tickets only. So sometimes you make me buy the Coke also.
Do I pay you for this podcast or not?
No. Don't lie about it. Why are you lying on camera?
Okay.
This is as a sign of friendship, as a show of friendship. I do this podcast. I have not been paid for this.
She's telling lies. She gets paid. And so that I don't have to listen to such tanas, please buy our merchandise. Which Naxal are you? Urban, bourbon, turban or suburban. It's a very nice mug. You can drink coffee. You can drink tea. Put in your saucer.
Or put wine in it.
Or you can put wine in it. Or you can have this sipper. It says, I pay to keep news free sipper. And we have soap. So you go to newslaundry.com and go to store. And our store has many things like a parchun ki dukaan. It's a hardware shop. So go to store and only, of course, subscribers can buy stuff from the NL store because it is exclusive and it is of very high quality at a very good price. Because much of this goes into supporting journalism and paying people so that they don't give you tanas.
Who are these people?
I don't know. Go to newslaundry.com because we don't take ads and pay to keep news free, and you can even buy such stuff, or you can mail us at store@newslaundry.com. I repeat, store@newslaundry.com. So Rajyasree, since now you have learnt what parchun means.
Would you like something from the parchun? I can go and pick up something for you.
From the parchun?
Yeah. Parchun bhaiya, aapke paas hai?
Parchun bhaiya, kya hai aapke paas? Dude, seriously. So, yes, Rashi, let me read a mail and then you can tell us about Varsity Blues.
Yes.
Okay, so this mail is from, by the way, we're really sorry. Last time a subscriber had written to us and her name is Snigdha Batra and I introduced her as not as a subscriber. It's our producer Jude's fault because he had put it as a non-subscriber's email. She has written to us and confirmed she's a subscriber. Well, Snigdha, it could have happened because the email that you wrote the mail from may not be the email that you have registered as a Newslaundry subscriber. Because how we match it is that if the mail has come from a subscriber is if they are registered in our login, if their login credit details are there. So if you've emailed us from a different email, then we assume that you're not a subscriber. So my bad. Even I have a mail here from Sanjay who says he's a subscriber, but it's come under the non-subscriber list. But again, Sanjay, you probably have written this mail from a different email ID from the one that you have registered when you subscribed. So I will take your word for it. So here's what Sanjay says. Hi Abhinandan and Rajyasree. A movie suggestion from a subscriber. Please watch the movie Hey Ram directed by Kamal Hassan. It is based on a fictional character Saket Ram who is influenced by the RSS ideology after the rape of his wife by the Muslims on the Direct Action Day in Bengal in 1946. Soon he gets the mission of killing Gandhi. Then, due to him starting the Delhi riots and seeing the death of his friend, he changes his mind. Then he understands Gandhi's ideology. This movie is very much historically accurate and just shows India from 1946 till the assassination of Gandhi and further the riots after the demolition of the Babri Masjid. This film was released in the year 2000 starring Kamal Hassan, Shah Rukh Khan, Nasiruddin Shah, Hema Malini, Vasundhara Das and Rani Mukherjee. This film is available in the Hindi dubbed version also, but do watch it in Tamil with English subtitles. A must watch. Love you guys. Continue the great work, Sanjay. Thank you, Sanjay, for your support. And like I said, you're probably a subscriber since you've said you're a subscriber. I have actually watched the film.
I've also watched the film.
I watched it when it was released and I really liked it in spite of Kamal Hassan because it was around that time that Kamal Hassan was, in my view, becoming insufferable. And he's in an insufferable zone now. He was so full of himself. He had done that film where he's this big guy, which is the most expensive film made at the time.
Yeah.
Where he's done a double role. You know, the bad Kamal Hassan is this big buff guy, and the good Kamal Hassan is who's hunting him down. And he had just
Gajini, which was remade.
No, it wasn't Gajini. Gajini, there's no double role. It's Amir Khan is only one. Anyway,
Kamal.
So Kamal Hassan, but I liked this. I just thought Shah Rukh Khan, that song that they do where he's this Pathan and that song sequence is very contrived. I didn't like it at all. But I loved the film. And I also remember we were all a little, and I was much younger. I think this film must have been released in the 90s or something.
2000.
2000. And Vasundhara Das was this newcomer. And I remember Kamal Hassan had made this film, and there was a kissing scene of him and Vasundhara Das.
Yeah.
And one of him and Rani Mukherjee was also in it. And we were like, Budhau ko tharak chad gayi hai. Completely unnecessary. But it was not like that kissing scene added anything to the film, but Kamal Hassan had to have these two kissing scenes. And I just found that.
No, and on
but it was a
big
very good
screen,
film. I love the film.
It was a little much. The film was this one. Alavandan.
Abhay. Yes, that's the one. So yeah,
Same.
I've seen Hey Ram. It's a very good film. Rajyasree Sen, all yours.
Yes, so there is an excellent documentary on Netflix called Operation Varsity Blues, which is about this university scandal, the bribery scandal, which took down it became very famous because two actresses who y'all have seen at some point are the Rory Lolan, who was in Full House, who was the wife in Full House, the mother. You've seen her. And Felicity Huffman. Their kids were also part of this, as in they had paid money to get their kids into colleges in the US.
Everybody pays money to get your kids into colleges.
No, this is not people like us, because we get full scholarships. Huh? Oh, you're not smart like that, you're saying. Huh? Yeah, so this is it's called Operation Varsity Blues, the college admission scandal. Chris Smith has directed it, the same guy who made Fire Festival, this thing. So normally his documentaries are of real footage. In this one, he has FBI transcripts. So everything that comes out of Rick Singer is the person who ran this scam. And he's played by Matthew Modine. The actor, Matthew Modine, you've seen definitely.
Probably.
Also. So Matthew Modine, Rick Singer was a little odd looking in the sense that he was this wiry, very fit guy who used to exercise a lot and had a strange haircut. Could it be you?
I'm accused of having shit jokes. Like, fucking my jokes are gold compared to this. Like,
it was
my jokes
so
are like
good.
MASH compared to Dekh Bhai Dekh.
Please, it was so good. You didn't get where it came at you from, hasn't it? So Rick Singer is this guy who wasn't that old, actually. He would have been in his 40s, late 40s, and then carrying on till his 50s. And the colleges where he ran this, who were in on this, on the take, basically, were Georgetown University, University of South California, UCLA, Wake Forest University, which I haven't heard of, but that means nothing, University of Texas at Austin, Yale, and Stanford. These are not small universities.
And my college, Hansraj College, is not on that list. Proves it is better than all these.
You're Hansraj or Ramjas?
Hansraj.
Oh, Ramjas is
Opposite.
better, I meant. Not like this. I was doing that. I was doing that, see? Perpendicular, not horizontal. That's what I was trying to say. So anyway,
These
the
snobs who had the opportunity served to them on a plate.
I didn't. I went to Jadavpur University where my fee was 200 rupees. That's all my parents gave me.
That's why it turned out like this.
We are very
Because you
smart.
studied in Bengal. Had you come to DU, you would have turned out like me.
I would have got married at the age of 22 and had 5 children by
Did I?
28. You would have been one of those Punjabi boys only waiting to get married. That's all you all thought about. In Bengal, we are not like this. We are very evolved. But Rick Singer, so he used to be a coach of some sports, I've forgotten now, basketball or something. And he then transitioned, realized this is far more lucrative. Now, the way it was done was that the universities were not dealing with him. He used to deal with people who do the sports quota. So the coaches at these universities used to be in on the take. And it was cleverly done in the sense, so he could have been Indian actually. He's so clever about it.
Back in the day, a lot of DU admissions used to happen like this.
Yeah, so he used to so there were 3-4 sports which he picked on, which are not very popular sports. So crew, which is rowing, then
Croquet.
water polo.
Buffalo. Okay. Polo.
Water buffalo, also water polo, and one more. 3 sports he basically handpicked where you have less concentration from the college maybe, but all these sports coaches played a very important role. That if they recommended anyone, the admissions committee does not question them because they are assuming you are the expert who has this thing. Now, the way it was done was most of these kids were not sports player. It's like me saying I'm a crew, like I row, which if you look at me, it's clear I don't.
But if you go to a film with her, then she'll always rowing. Oh, that's a joke.
That's so bad.
Ching!
5 subscribers have immediately canced their
I mean,
subscription.
because
I've
of
told
shit-
you, be careful about this.
Shit jokes.
So what he do is he takes for this Lowland's daughter, who was a YouTube influencer, massive YouTube influencer, Lori Lowland's daughter. He basically made her pretend she was on, that exercise rowing machine. So she's on it. So the picture is taken from there, and then he photoshops it, and you're in in that
Wow.
boat, not a boat, whatever it's called. So it was also even the kids throwing the water.
It was Photoshop. So he had Photoshop skills.
So he also explains to one of the parents, he says that just make sure that he's not standing in 4-foot water because that's not the way it's played. So the parents were in on it. Most of the kids did not know that the parents were doing this. So there are conversations where these billionaires are saying, but my child shouldn't find out that I've done this. And another one where the mother is saying, just think, and when the kids hear it, she's saying, you don't understand, my elder daughter didn't care. She was like, okay, fine, do whatever you have to. My younger one is very particular and she'll be very upset if she hears this. So this entire thing was happening. FBI got wind of it through one of the
and they took the wind out of their sails.
They took
so there was
out
no
the crew thing.
Okay.
Very smart, only this has no sales. But even then, but the way, I was also very impressed by how FBI does this sort of, this recording and, what do you say, surveillance that they, I was going to say, vigil that they do.
Oh dear God.
No, but it's excellent. So Rick Singer became a approver.
I see.
And so he hasn't served any jail time. But what's sad is that one of the guys, he didn't serve any jail time, but they put that thing on your ankle, right? So
you don't flee.
Yeah, so you don't flee. It's very sad. He never took any of the money, one of the sports coaches. It's just that one of their achievables or deliverables is that you have to bring in funds to the college. And he said, I didn't have that. I am a sports coach. I'm an
So that
athlete.
also shows the flawed system of incentives by the university.
$700,000 is still sitting with Stanford because he just gave it to Stanford. He didn't take any of the money. And Stanford has said, why will we give it back? We didn't take it illegally. So, but you should watch it to see 2 things. One is, this pressure I feel a lot of children are put under by their parents. It's not even by their peers that you must get into a good college. You must go to Stanford. What will happen with your life otherwise? That constant pressure, and then to feel that if I don't get into a good college, then I'm going to, nothing will go on with my life. And the second is, that you have to, there's no point getting into the 20th college. You have to be in those top 3 colleges. And people are willing to do anything for that. So these were all CEOs and all doing this.
Moral of the story, beta. Jo bhi karo, honestly karo. Okay, don't be paid news. So I hope legacy media is watching. Don't depend on advertisers because then you have to serve them. Be like News Laundry and take money only from those who are the public because you are supposed to serve the public. Because when the public pays, the public is served. So pay to keep news free. Go to newslaundry.com, click on subscribe or click on store or click on Sena and contribute. On that note, I shall read one more email and then we shall cut the video and the rest of the podcast shall be on audio because we have some music to share.
And we have podcast, not a video cast.
And yeah, it's an audio podcast, although there can be a video podcast also, but
that's
Don't tell her she's
Please.
little slow.
That's your really. This is like saying it's an NGO, but we also are a private enterprise. You can't do like that. Understood?
Okay. So this email is from Goonj. Goonj. Do you get it? I've done a play on
She's
the name.
also Gunj
Has cancelled us.
Yeah, it's very sad what's happening during
So
this podcast.
here's what Goonj says. Hello, Rajyasree and Abhinandan. Congratulations on crossing 200 episodes. The podcast is great fun as always. Since this is the Awful and Awesome podcast, can you please tell us what has been the most awful and the most awesome consequence of COVID for you? Lastly, some recommendations. Enjoy Enjami, a great song which is quite the rage these days. Enjoy Enjami, I'll just check it out. And Azmaish, a new song released by Munawwar Farooqi. I think it is half-baked, but some lines hit you hard. And they show that what Munawwar has gone through and the incredible manner in which he has handled everything. Best, Goonj. So...
You have special effects also.
the SFX.
How many?
We should enter the Filmfare Award for Best Special Effects in Podcast if they have such a category.
They'll start. We'll win. For innovation. Local innovation.
We shall play these two songs that Goonj has recommended at the end of this podcast. But यार यहाँ साफ मत कर सब यहाँ पर तो बंद करो ना तुम phone baj raha hai, you're cleaning your laptop and all your dhool and thook and all is coming over here.
I don't know
Clean
why.
it before you sit. How
No,
bad it
I
looks.
think it got dusty now. Now to the video is not playing. Na?
It
So
is
don't-
playing.
Video is still
I said
playing.
after
Why
the
did
video.
you not
So now listen.
tell me?
I said after the. Okay, can you just now first answer Gunj's question? The most awful and the most awesome consequence of COVID.
Most awful, I think, is that you just can't, as in, you can't just get on a plane and go and travel. Like, even for 2 days, you can't go home. You have to think 20 times. I went home after 1 year, 2 months, and it was that flight was the most horrid thing I've been through. So, the ease with which you just used to travel, so you don't get to see maybe your friends and all who you used to see that often. And most awesome, I don't know, I think I've done lots of very good work during this. Not that I want the pandemic to carry on, but I finished my manuscript. I do lots of work. Okay. I meet my friend circle are the same friends I used to meet pre-pandemic. I meet during pandemic.
So Gunj, for me, the most awesome thing was probably being locked in with my family for whatever days. Other than the fact that we also all got COVID. So we were like, I mean, we couldn't even step out of the house for those 17 days. So that was quite awesome, actually. We used to play carom and I got to spend a lot of time with my parents and my niece and my nephew. So that was truly awesome. The most awful was when I had to cook 1 or 2 days. I mean, it was like...
Think
there was,
how awful it was for your family. You are still fine.
No, they don't mind cooking as much.
No,
So
to
then-
eat your cooking, not their
No, but
cooking.
then luckily I have such lovely friends that every day a different friend would send a dabba of food which they'd keep outside our door.
Why
So
some
I didn't
friends
have to
sent
cook.
you tarts and all also and fancy food? It's so
That's not-
thankless.
so I just said a friend.
No, you meant other people, not me. This is correct.
I sent a
and
lot
you
of
know
friends.
It. But you said like that, no? Like you mean other people that way.
Okay, even she sent food regularly. You know, the good thing about generous friends is they don't jatao that they've done you a favor. You know such
saying
people?
that it's very bad. Bad. Your attitude is very bad.
On that note, we shall be talking about the Fora Zack Snyder's Justice League, and I shall tell you just what I thought about that.
Just what you thought.
And 2 really good ads. And it has Ajay Devgan, but it is still a really good ad. So we shall talk about that. But the rest of the podcast, do listen to on the podcast platform of your choice. Or I would prefer you listen to it on the News Laundry podcast player because we have spent a lot of money. So come on to newslaundry.com. The rest of the podcast is going to be audio only. And the reason they have ads in the pre-roll ads in the last video cast is because we play some of the audio clips of films. And the people who own the IP to that activate the ads and they get the monetization benefits. We don't. And we don't want that to happen. That's why. Come to the audio cast.
So now it's cut.
Now.